Good morning. Jai Hind to all. My name is Dhanshri Parihar, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Akgec Engineering College. And today my topic is discussion on keyword, final, static, and introduction to the packages from the subjects UFIDS Java for the students BCA, MCA, MTech and BTech. So the content of this topic will include introduction to static keyword, how this static keyword is being used with the variables, with the methods and in a form of a block, and the usage of final keyword along with its introduction, creation of a final method in order to prevent method overriding and inheritance with the help of examples in a coding form. And the last content is introduction to packages along with its types and its implementation, how to create and importing a package. So let us have a look at what is a static keyword and why it is an important keyword in our Java programming. A static keyword can be used with a class, with the variable and the method, and a block in a coding can also be stated as a static block. So why there is need of felt to invent such a keyword which can be used in a different forms? As in Java, the static variable can be declared as a static where we can fix the value of a variable, and that is an unchangeable value throughout the program. Now, why there is a need to fix a value for a variable? For example, if I am doing a coding, and in a coding, if I have to print a roll number and a name of a student from particular college. So in that case, I have to enter three variables value. One is the entry with the string for a variable name of the college, and then we are having the roll number of a student, and then we having a name of a student. So in these three variable, one variable that is the name of the college, that is the fixed one. The college name will be the common for all the students, whereas they can be uniquely identified with their names and roll number. So in that case, if we want to code, we have to do coding on such kind of problem statement where we want one variable to be a common variable, and we need that variable needs to be fixed and cannot be changed throughout the programming. We can declare that variable to be a static variable. Let's have a look for a code how this kind of coding can be possible with the help of a static variable. Now in this code, as we can see that we are taking just an example of a class student where we are creating a three variable roll number, name and the college name. Here class student is having the variable roll number, which is declared as an integer variable, string name variable declared as a string, and then we have a college variable which will be declared as a string variable along with a static keyword, where we are putting the value to be Akgec. So here the roll number and name of the student can belong to any branch conducted in a college, Akgec Engineering College. But the name of the college is same for all the streams, whether the student belong to CSE branch, IT branch, mechanical, civil and all. So in such kind of scenario, if we want to code such kind of thing, problem statement, we are taking it to be a static, means that will be common for all the students, that Akgec, the name of the college, and along with we cannot want this value to be changed on any instance while running the program. So that's why we declared it as a static variable. That is the use of declaring a variable to be a static variable. Here, then we are creating a constructor whose name is same as that of the name of class student. It's a parameterized constructor having two parameters, integer value r and string value to be n. And we're passing this r and n to the roll number and the name variable, where both the variables are not static variable, they are normal variables. Now, then we have created a display method. Here we are printing the name, college and the roll number of a student, where the college is a static variable. Now let's have a look at, we have created another class named as test static variable class, which is a main method class, and we are declaring a main method inside it. Now in this class we have created two objects. One is the object for student class Another is also the object of student class. But what is the difference between two objects S1 and S2? As in this default constructor of student class, for object S1, we are passing the parameters to be 111 and Karan. Now, when this default constructor is being called, the control will directly go to this constructor student, and the value of 111 is passed to this R variable, and the current value is passed to this N variable to be, this is current, and N is holding the value of current, and then it will be passed to roll number and name. And in second call, when we are creating an object, student will be called with 222 and RN value. After that, we can display these two. We can print these values 111 and current, 222 and RN, along with the help of calling a function with an object. Here S1 is the first object created for class student and S2 is the second object created for class student, and displays the function of class student. This is the display function, and here we are simply printing the three variables: roll number, name and college, where college is being a static variable which is we have fixed, and it is holding a fixed value Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College. So from this example, we come to know that we can variate these values, like the roll number and the name of the student can be anything, but the college name will be always a fixed. So in such scenario, we can use a static variable. Let's have a look at the output of this program. So the output of this program will be this 111 and Karan, and the college name will be Akgec. And for the second call, we have 222 and then RN and again Akgec. So that's the role of your static variable. So next is static method. Only the variable cannot be declared as a static, but a method can also become a static in nature. So what is this static method? If we apply a static keyword in front of any method which is declared inside a class, is known as a static method. A static method belongs to a class rather than an object of a class. A static method can access static data member and can change the value of it. Means that it can be possible to declare a static variable inside a static method. Now let's have a look at the example of this static method. Now in this example, we have one class named as calculate. In calculate, we are having a function named as cube, which is a parameterized function containing only a single parameter of type integer, and it will be returning the multiplication of this x, where we are returning the we can say this returning the x cube, the value of this cube, that is x raised to power 3. Now, after closing this class, we have declared a main method. Now, here we are not creating an object. Have a look at this line. Here we are just making a simple call to our this method named as cube. Now, how this call is possible? By using the name of the class. So, first we have declared this variable. This variable is having a value assigned to it. And what will be the value? The value which is being calculated by the function cube, okay, and being called by the class calculate. So here there is no need of creating an object. Why there is no need of creating an object? As the method which we are calling is a static method, and the static method do not need any object for accessing it. As we have a look in the previous example, in previous example also, when we are making some variable to be a static variable, we do not need any kind of object to invoke it. It can be invoked directly by a class call. In a similar way, method is also do not need any object to invoke it. This cube method is right now a static in nature. So that's why we can directly call it without creating an object. So like this, class name and then the dot operator, and then we have a method name, and we are passing the value to be 5. And this control will goes to this, x will become 5, and the cubing of this 5 raised to power 3 is 125, and we will get answer to be 125. Since we are printing this system.out and println result is holding the value of this calculating. So there is no need of creating an object for a static method. there is one another use of this static keyword by making a method to be a static in nature. Now the third kind of usage of this static keyword is making a complete block inside a class or a code to be a static. Now how it is possible? What is the syntax for doing that? Let us have an example for this. So it is used to initialize the static data members. If we want a complete block to be static, non-changeable form, and we want to be fixed during the compilation time, we can make that particular code inside a class to be a static. In this example, we are having a class named as test. Here we have one static variable named as I, which is an integer in nature. We have one more variable here, which is also integer in nature, that is j. Now, how to declare a static block? For declaring a block to be static, first you have to write the keyword static, and then starting braces, we start the braces inside your class, and then we are writing that particular code inside that particular block. So from here to here, it is a complete static block, and inside a static block, we are initializing the value of I, which is previously declared as a static variable. Here we have declared it to be a static, but we do not define what is I is holding. So here inside the static block, we declare the value of I to be 10, which once assigned to I cannot be changed throughout the programming during the compilation process. And then we printing the statement that static block is being called. Okay. And then we have created one another method named as test. And here we are saying that constructor is called. So this test is not a method but a constructor, as the name of this particular constructor is same as that of the name of the class. It is a non-parameterized constructor, and we are printing one statement, constructor is called. Now let us have a look at GFG class. This is a main method class. So we have one class to be a test class containing a static variable inside it, containing one constructor inside it, and containing a static block inside it. Now we are having one another class also, GFG class, which is a main method class. Now what is main method class? Which is actually going to execute the complete code. Here in a main method class, as it is holding a main method definition, we are creating a two objects of class test, this previous class test. Okay, one is T1 and another is T2. And what we are doing in both the cases, we are calling the default constructor test and test every time. So when first test is being called, again the constructor called statement is printed, and when this statement is called by this test, again the constructor is executed. And before that, there is no need of placing some call to this static block. It will be automatically running. And what we will be getting? We will getting static block called, and then what will be the output? First output will be static block called. That is for this printing statement, the first one, which is inside the static block. Okay. This is the output. And then we are getting this statement, this particular string constructor called 2 times in our output. Why 2 times? Because we have created 2 objects for class test. So constructor called once, and then again constructor called. Like this. Here we can see that for executing the system.out.println, we do not created any object and we do not invoke any object on this statement. Why? Because this complete block from here to here is a static block, and the static block, a static variable or a static method, do not need object of a class to invoke it. They can automatically run by the type of class itself. Okay. So, and why we are getting this constructor called 2 times? Because we have created 2 objects for test class T1 and T2, and this default constructor test is called 2 times in the program. That's why after this static block called, constructor called is executed 2 times. So this is the way how a static block can work. Here the static block value cannot be changed throughout the programming by the compilation of the program. If we want to do so, we will get a compilation error in this case. Now The fourth usage of static keyword is a static class. So after creating a variable to be a static in nature, a method to be a static in nature, and then even a block to be static in nature, there is one more usage of static block is a static keyword, that is we can make a complete class to be a static in nature. Now how it is possible to make a complete class to be static in nature? For doing so, we have certain constraints, certain restrictions in Java coding. And what are those restrictions? The first restriction is a class can made be static only if it is a nested class. So the first thing is, whenever we want to make some class to be static in nature, we want to bound it under some normal class. Okay, first we will declare some normal class and then we will have a class inside it. Then that inner class will be made to be a static in nature. Directly a outer class cannot be a static in nature. That is one of the criteria, or we can say foundation in Java programming. Second foundation is the nesting static class does not read reference of outer class. Means whenever we want to run that class, that is the inner class which we declared as a static in nature, do not need any object of the outer class to get it to be executed. Now third is a static class cannot access non-static members of the outer class. Means the class which is static in nature and inside the outer class cannot access the non-static members. Like normal variable cannot be accessible to a static class. That can access only the static variable, static function, or a static block of a outer class. So these are the three foundations to make a class to be static in nature. Now let's have a look at the example how a class can become a static class. As I told you that for creating a static class, we need to bound it inside a normal class. So let us see in this very first example, we have some class named as a Java example, and then inside it we have created one static variable of type string, and we are assigning the values beginner's book to this particular variable. Now let's have a look at the static class, which is an inner class. As we have opened this class over here, but till this step here we have not closed these braces. Means this class my nested class, that will be residing inside our Java example class. Okay, and it is declared to be a static in nature. And we have once created this class, static class, we have created a one function inside this named as a display function. Okay, and then we have printed this string str. Now why we are printing this str inside this our static class? As str is declared as a static method, and in the restriction number 2, what we have said that if the inner class, which is a static in nature, want to access some variable of the outer class, that needs to be static in nature. If it is not static in nature, then it's a problem. There will be a compilation error. So that's why the outer class is having this static variable, and now this static variable can be printed inside our static class. So that is the logic behind the code. And then we have a main method. After main method, now how this compilation will take place. As I told you that this static class is not having any object of its own to access it. It can be run directly, but there will be some way to invoke it or to run it. So that is the answer is this step. First, we are having that outer class, which is bounding our static class, and then dot operator. My nested class is our static class, and then we have an object name. So we are not directly invoking my class, that is a static class. We are indirectly invoking it through our outer class. Java example dot my nested class, and then the object name equals to new Java example outer class dot the nested static class, and we are creating the constructor for that. In that way we can, which is totally different from the normal way of creating an object. For creating a object in a normal way, for a normal class, what we will do, we will write a class name, then object name equals to new operator, and then again the class name. But here we are having two classes name. One is the outer class and one is the inner static class, and we are joining them with our dot operator for invoking our static class. Okay, and then we are just calling this display method, which is inside our static class my nested with the help of this object. So we are not creating an object for this my nested class. Here we are not writing my nested class object equals to new and then minus it. Instead, we are writing a reference of that for that thing. We are writing the outer class, then dot operator, then our static class, and then we are creating an object for this. That is indirectly we are invoking our static class. So this is the one way of coding. So there are four using of this static keyword, which we have seen with the help of example. Now next keyword is the final keyword, which is also very important in Java, and lots of the question in our these entrance examinations and industry oriented interviews will come from this keyword, final keyword. It is being asked by the industry persons that what is the role of using this final keyword in Java. So one of the main use of using this final keyword in Java is to prevent inheritance or to prevent method overriding. Okay, this method overriding concept lies in our inheritance concept. That is one of the OOPS feature in Java, object oriented feature of Java. Okay, so for how we can use this final variable, one is this, we can make a variable to be a final, we can make a method to be final, and we can make a class to be final. As we seen here, it is written that to prevent inheritance, if we make a class to be a final class, then there is no one can inherit that class. Means that class is not being extended by any other class. So in this way, we can prevent inheritance. In method overriding also, the method which is a duplicate method inside a child class, if we write a final keyword in front of that, or in a parent class, we will write a final, that duplicated method that is duplicated in a child class, and the main class is having the same name of method with same parameters. If we write a final keyword in front of that method in a parent class, again that is not overridden, means overwriting is not done in that process. We will have a look with the example in a coding how this is possible. And first is final variable. So why we are creating a variable to be final one? Again, to make it non-changeable throughout our programming. So let's have a look for the final variable. That is the very first example for the final keyword. So how a variable can become a final? It's in simple words, when we are putting this keyword final in the front of some variable declaration, like we have a variable name as max value inside the class demo, which will be of type integer and holding a value of 99. So we will placing this final keyword in front of it. Now what is the meaning of doing this final? Means max value is always carrying a fixed value of 99. If we want to change this value throughout the program or from the reader side when the code is executing, that is not possible, and we will met with a compilation error. Let's have a look. Like we have created this method, my method. Inside that, again we are declaring the value of this variable max value, which was previously created as a final variable along with value 99. And again I want to update this value to be 101, but that is not possible when we start executing this program. Here we have created the object inside the main method for the class demo to having access for this method. So when this call will go to this my method, and this max value needs to be executed. Here one printing statement is missing. We can write here system.out.println, and we can print the value of this max underscore value. Okay, when we want to execute this statement inside our this my method, in that case a compilation error will occur. And what is this compilation error? That this max value is declared to be a final variable and its value cannot be changed. This is the compilation error we are met with. That is the expectation in the thread main java.lang error and unresolved compilation problem. The final field demo.max underscore value cannot be assigned again. Okay, once its value will be 99, it cannot be reassigned again to be 101. So that is the use of our final variable. Now next is blank final variable. There is one more possibility with such kind of code. So how we can make some coding we can say differentiation from the previous program, we can declare this method outside, this variable outside the method demo, but we are not defining its value here. We are declaring max value to be final, but still the value is not assigned to this variable. So when we are creating this method demo, inside that we are assigning its value to be 100. So that is possible. That is a blank final variable, because we are not assigning any, and that is possible in Java, that during declaration we are not assigning any value, but in static variable it is not possible. When you are creating a static variable, you have to define it also. The defining and declaration separately is not allowed for static variable. That is one of the difference between the final and the static, but in final it is allowed. So here we are just declaring max value to be a final variable and final in nature, and then we are assigning its value inside our demo function. So that is possible, and error free output will be obtained as 100, as we are just creating an object inside the main method for this method, and we are calling this method with the object, and then call will be made to this object demo, and inside demo the value 100 will be assigned to max value, and this max value will be printed over here, and we will met with this value to be 100. So we do not met with any kind of error in such kind of case. But if I am declare max value to be a static and I want to use it inside, declare it, define it inside this demo, we will met with an error. So that is the difference between static and final. Now next is, what is the use of this blank final variable? Why we are doing such kind of coding? So in usage, like I have written roll number to be a final, but here I am not sure about what kind of value I want to assign to this roll number variable. Okay, for that case, we can just get it to be final. We will make it final, and we will decide later on what we want to do with this particular variable. But we are damn sure that we are going to fix it value later on in the code. For that's why we are using a blank final variable. So I'm summing up with this final variable and all. Thank you, and Jai Hind to all.